What's going on, everybody? I hope you've had a great week so far, and I'm pumped up because tomorrow night it is going to be WWE Survivor Series. And I know I'm making this video a little bit early, but I'm just saying I'm pumped up. Whenever Survivor Series comes around, and unfortunately it's been a dead pay-per-view in the last few years because Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard and Kevin Dunn and John Laurinaitis have booked it to make Survivor Series not mean much anymore. But you know what? Now that Triple H is in charge and the fact that we have War Games included in this pay-per-view, it's going to make it that much more exciting, and I cannot wait to see what these men and women are going to do in their matchup at Survivor Series. And this is my preview and predictions for each one of the matches that will be happening at Survivor Series War Games this Saturday night in Boston, Massachusetts. There's going to be 5 matches that are right now scheduled on the pay-per-view. And now we know all the participants for the women's War Games matchup. We already know all the participants for the men's War Game matchup. So just to run down the list of the matches going on for Saturday night. We have Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, Asuka, Mia Yim, and Becky Lynch, who made a return tonight on Friday Night SmackDown. They will be taking on DamageCTRL's Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky, as well as Nikki Cross and Rhea Ripley in a 5-on-5 War Games matchup. And in the men's one, you're going to have the Brawling Brutes, which are Sheamus, Ridge Holland, and Butch, with Drew McIntyre and Kevin Owens. They will be taking on the Bloodlines, Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa, Sami Zayn, and the Usos, Jay and Jimmy, in the War Games matchup for the men. Now, just to review the rules for the Survivor Series War Games matchup. I'm sure everybody already knows it, but just in case. There's going to be an advantage matchups that are going to be happening throughout this match. To make it sure, you're always going to have one team that's going to have one man or one woman up in these matches coming up. Now, obviously, we already know who's going to have the advantage in the women's matchup. What happened on Monday Night Raw this past Monday, as Rhea Ripley was able to defeat Asuka, and the DamageCTRL, their side is going to have the one-up, which pretty much means that every single time it's going to start out with 2 people. And then every single time there's going to be one person that's going to pop into the match throughout the next minute 50 or 2 minutes or so, and then you're gonna have each team having one player coming in. So first it's gonna be DamageCTRL, then it's gonna be Bianca's team, all the way down until you have all 5 women on each side in the matchup. And the War Games matchup will not start until everybody is in the ring, and then that's when the match will officially begin. And the men right now, we haven't found out who are going to be involved in the men's War Games matchup. Right now we have a tag team that will happen tonight. It's going to be Sheamus and Drew McIntyre taking on the Usos. Now, if I had to pick my prediction, obviously you're going to get this video and you're going to find out who the result already is. So bear with me. I'll put it in the chat if you already didn't see. Who I think is going to win, I think it's going to be the Usos. I think that the heels teams are always best when they get the advantage. So I'm expecting the Usos to pull this out and they'll get the advantage in this matchup. In terms of some of the other matches that are going to be happening, there's 3 other matchups that will happen on War Games that night. Ronda Rousey will be taking on Shotzi Blackheart, in a WWE SmackDown Women's Championship matchup. So I'm curious to see how Shotzi is going to be able to perform in a matchup against Ronda Rousey. You're also going to have AJ Styles taking on Finn Balor. AJ Styles of the OC taking on Finn Balor, and you pretty much know that Carl Anderson, Mia Yim, and Luke Gallows will be around for will be probably in the ringside for AJ Styles, as well as Judgment Day's Damian Priest, Dominic Mysterio, and Rhea Ripley. Or maybe AJ and Finn decide to keep their guys back, and they decide to go at this on a true one-on-one matchup, which I would love to see. I would love to see AJ and Finn just go at it in this matchup, and this could easily be the match that steals the show, not named the War Games matchup. And you got a United States Championship triple threat match featuring Seth freaking Rollins against Bobby Lashley against Austin Theory. This should be also a tremendous matchup overall too. I think this matchup is going to kick freaking ass as well. Austin Theory, since he lost his briefcase, he's now become a more serious character. He's becoming more aggressive out there. He's beating the hell out of people. And he's now becoming more of a threat to potentially gain back his United States Championship. Bobby Lashley, it looks like that the Hurt Business might be on their way back in the future, and Bobby Lashley right now is looking like an awesome heel at the moment. And then Rollins, he's a tweener at the moment. He's been a tweener on the babyface and the heel side, so I'm really curious to see how Seth freaking Rollins is going to go into this, but this should be an awesome matchup as well. So you got a 5-match card right now. War Games each should be around about an hour or so. So this alone is going to be a terrific matchup, seeing the War Games match go on. So you're going to have 5 matchups overall. I'm going to go from the normal matches first, my predictions, and I'm going to get eventually up to the War Games matches going forward. Now, I'll start off with the Women's Championship match because I honestly think, and this is no disrespect to Ronda Rousey and Shotzi Blackheart, but I think this is going to be the dull match of this entire War Games card. Shotzi Blackheart, she's now turned babyface again. She has that lovable babyface. She got her tank back. We obviously know how terrific Shotzi Blackheart was in NXT. She's a former NXT Tag Team Champion, Women's Tag Team Champion with Ember Moon, who, aka Athena, when she was in WWE before. Shotzi's got that rebellious type character. She's got also that type of character that's got innovative offense. She's a very likable babyface. And she's going to go up against the ass kicker, Ronda Rousey, who might have Shayna Baszler with her at ringside. So I'm really curious to see how this matchup is going to go. It's a true David versus Goliath on the women's side between these two. If I had to pick who is going to win this, to me, it's obviously going to be Ronda Rousey. I think Ronda is going to definitely win this matchup, but at the same time, I think if Shotzi Blackheart can put together a very, very strong effort in this match and give Ronda Rousey the fight of her life out there, it's going to make Shotzi look a lot better. It's going to make her look like a more credible wrestler in the women's division on the SmackDown side. And maybe, just maybe, if she can build her up some more, she might be able to challenge for that championship again later on. And maybe, you never know, she could possibly win that championship. So I'm really curious to see how Shotzi Blackheart's performance is going to look, and Ronda Rousey. But in my opinion, Ronda Rousey will win this matchup, and she will retain her SmackDown Women's Championship. Now, in terms of the United States Championship overall, Rollins, Lashley, Theory. These three have been at each other's throats for the past few weeks, even had times on and off. Each one of these guys have held the United States Championship in the past 5-6 months. Lashley was the United States Champion for a little bit. Theory ended up winning the championship before that. Obviously, he lost it at Money in the Bank to Bobby Lashley at that time. And Seth freaking Rollins has been on the roll of his life right now. And he won that championship with the help of Austin Theory on the outside and Brock Lesnar. So, Seth freaking Rollins is going in as a very strong champion at the moment. We're going to have to see what's going to happen with this matchup overall. Who I think is going to win? Because of the momentum that Rollins is on, I believe that he's going to be the one that's going to end up retaining the championship. But I think that Lashley is going to be the one to take the pin, because I think Lashley, out of those two, between him and Theory, I think Lashley is more bulletproof in this matchup. So I would have Theory be the one to get knocked to the outside, and I would have Lashley get pinned by Rollins, so at least you can keep Lashley looking strong, because he's bulletproof at this moment. And you could have Austin Theory not be able to get pinned. It's going to keep him strong. So in the end, I think this is going to be a very underrated, good matchup. I think all three of these guys could work really well together in the ring. But I think overall, I think Rollins will win this match, and he will retain the United States Championship. Now I want to get to maybe the most underrated matchup on this card, and I think this one could easily steal the show, and that's AJ Styles and Finn Balor, respectively the leaders of their respective groups, the OC and the Judgment Day. Both these guys, we know how phenomenal they are in the ring. These two guys have incredible history with each other, all the way back to their New Japan days in the Bullet Club. Both these guys were once leaders of the Bullet Club at one point in New Japan Pro Wrestling. So you know both these guys have a lot of history with one another. And even in the WWE, these guys have wrestled each other before. I believe all the way back in Survivor Series back in 2018, these guys took each other on in an impromptu matchup. So I have no doubt about it that these two are going to kill it in the ring. Their in-ring work is phenomenal. Their mic work has been great. And these guys could easily steal the show. And obviously, right now between the OC and the Bloodline, and the OC and the Judgment Day, the OC has had the upper, has been the lower hand in this matchup against the Judgment Day. The Judgment Day has had the upper hand for most part in this feud between both factions. So if I really think about it, I think that AJ Styles, who has been the down end of this feud, could really use the win a little bit more. And I think Finn Balor is going to end up coming up on the short end of this matchup. And it could be caused because of distraction on the outside. Maybe one of the OC members knocks out one of the Judgment Day guys. And it could start a possibility of Finn getting distracted and AJ ends up pulling the win with a Styles clash followed by a phenomenal forearm. So in the end, I believe this is going to be a phenomenal match. I think it's going to go 15, maybe 20 minutes between these two terrific wrestlers. But I think in the end, AJ Styles will end up picking up the victory. And he will come out the winner in this very, very, very good one-on-one matchup between both incredible wrestlers in the middle of the ring. Now I'm going to get to the women's War Games matchups, and we all know the story. These two teams have literally been feuding with each other all the way back since SummerSlam, whether it's Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, and Asuka. They've been feuding with Damage Control all the way back since SummerSlam when Bayley made her return to the ring and Dakota Kai and Io Sky made the return to WWE. And then you've had a little bit of sprinkling in coming through. These women have fought each other all the way back since Crown Jewel. Then you had two one-on-one matchups between Bayley and Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's Championship. So you know there's deep-rooted blood hatred between these two on screen, between both these teams. And now you've integrated Mia Yim into the factor since she's come back to WWE. Now you've integrated Becky Lynch, who got taken out by Damage Control the night after SummerSlam. So you know she's got revenge in her mind. And you've integrated Rhea Ripley, who's finally getting her first in-ring action since the summer, as well as Nikki Cross, since she's turned back from Nikki ASH. She's now become that like silent assassin killer on the outside and that bodyguard for Damage Control. So you know this match is going to be crazy. It's going to get personal. It's going to be a lot of fun between all 5 of these women, and all 10 of these women have incredible familiarity with one another heading into this War Games matchup. So I expect this to be a very, very, very great match. A lot of high spots. I think it's going to be chaotic. I think it's going to be crazy. I even believe that this match should kick off the show overall. I think you should have a Raw. I think you should have the women's War Games matchup in the beginning, and you should have the men's at the end. Put the War Games matchups on the outsides of each of this pay-per-view, and then you have the other matches coming up in the middle. So overall, I think this match is going to be incredible, but in the end, I think that the faces are going to end up picking up the victory, as I believe Becky Lynch will get the pin, and I'm going to say she's going to get the pin on Io Sky in this matchup, and she's going to be the one to win the War Games matchup for her respective team, because of the fact that the heels are going to be the expected favorites in this one. Because I think with Becky Lynch coming back, I think she's going to get the pin for her team, and they're going to end up winning the matchup. So I have the babyface team of Belair, Bliss, Asuka, Yim, and Lynch pulling off the victory against Damage Control, Cross, and Ripley. We'll have to see what's going to happen. I think this matchup is going to be incredible either way. So I cannot wait to see these two teams go at it in the ring. What should be an absolutely incredible barn burner of a matchup between both these teams. Now I'm going to get to the men's War Games matchup, and this one should be equally as good. It could even be better. And you're talking about the Bloodline right now, Reigns, Sikoa, Zayn, and the Usos, taking on the Brawling Brutes, who they've just recently been feuding with for about a month or two, with the fact that the Usos took out Sheamus a few weeks ago on SmackDown, and Sheamus is now back for revenge. You have Drew McIntyre, who's still looking for revenge after Solo Sikoa and the Bloodline screwed him out of his WWE World Championship match all the way back at Crown Jewel, and Kevin Owens, who's still looking for revenge on the Bloodline ever since 2021 when he got screwed out of his matchups against the Bloodline. So this is a lot of personal stuff going on with these two teams, and I expect this match to be crazy. I expect it to be wild. I expect it to be high-paced. I expect it to be a lot of action going on in this feud, and the biggest dynamic in this matchup is going to be between Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. That is where the storyline right now is written. Kevin Owens is looking to try to get into Sami Zayn's head and try to let him know that the Bloodline has been using you this whole time, and they're only having you on your team because of the fact that they want to try to get any type of upper advantage they can in this matchup going into War Games. So I really believe that the whole dynamic is really going to come down to Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, and I would not be shocked if one of these guys ends up starting the match early and then the other guy comes up coming towards the end. I believe Sami Zayn could be one of the last people to come into this matchup, and Owens could start. So I expect this match to be incredibly personal. I expect it to be physical in that ring. I expect a lot of hard hitting, a lot of personal feuds that need to be coming to an end, and every single one of these guys have a grudge with one another. This one, I think, could easily be the match of the night, because of the fact that there's been teases out there of Triple H saying there's going to be a whole lot of craziness going on in the War Games matchup. So I expect this match to be really a show stealer overall. And if anybody's watched War Games back in the NXT days, you know what you're going to be expecting from these guys. And some of these guys have experience in War Games before. So this is going to be incredible to watch. I cannot wait to see this matchup specifically. But if I had to pick the winner, I think it's ultimately going to come down to Sami Zayn is going to do something to cost his team the win. Whether he does something to get distracted, whether he, knocks over one of his teammates, whether he inadvertently knocks out one of his teammates, and it's going to end up costing his team the matchup. And I think that the babyfaces will end up picking up the win in the War Games matchup overall. I just think that they're eventually building towards Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens coming together as a tag team and building them up as a team heading into the WrestleMania build. And eventually those two guys will go up against the Usos, and they will be the ones to take those tag team titles off of the Usos come WrestleMania. So I really think that's the direction that the WWE is going right now. And I believe Sami Zayn will be the reason that the Bloodline loses this matchup, and it's going to start up the eventual divide of Sami Zayn from the Bloodline and the eventual pairing back together of Zayn and Owens heading into WrestleMania and Royal Rumble season. So those are my previews and my predictions for the War Games, Survivor Series War Games pay-per-view, which will be coming up tomorrow night at 8 p.m., in Boston, Massachusetts on Peacock. This should be an incredible pay-per-view, and I hope everybody is ready for what should be a phenomenal War Games pay-per-view overall, and just a phenomenal card put together by Triple H and by the WWE. So if you guys like this video, please hit the like button below. Sub up if you haven't already to NYG Jeffy T85 for more breaking news, updates, chatter, and pay-per-view predictions and previews surrounding the WWE. Turn on the bell for notifications on the next video or short surrounding the WWE. And let me know in the comment section, what are your predictions and your preview? Who you think is going to win these War Games matchups and the entire matchups as a whole on this card heading into the pay-per-view tomorrow night for WWE on Peacock. So I thank you very much, everybody. Have a fantastic rest of your Friday. Enjoy the pay-per-view on Saturday night. It should be a great one. Take it easy, and let's see what Triple H, what Nick Khan, what the WWE has planned for us on War Games.